talking.
Okay.
And don't forget to put it on mute, the Twitch. And welcome everyone this Saturday morning for the U.S. Amateur Team West Scholastic side event. I'm Abel Talamantes, chess director at the Mechanics Institute, and joining us today are two people from the I'm going to say the championship Berkeley team because one team wins, everybody wins. We have National Master Arjun Bharat, who was from the winning UC Berkeley B team that won the U.S. Amateur Team West. And we have International Master Kesav Viswanadha joining us for the broadcast of the Scholastic Championship. How's it going, guys?
It's going good. Yeah.
Doing pretty good, yeah.
How's it feel? So, like, it was just a week ago. You guys were fighting with the other teams in a really tough tournament with a lot of strong teams. UC Berkeley B team won it. The A team took second. And it's awesome that you guys have come back and lending yourselves to the broadcast of the future players of the big team tournament for the Scholastic side event. Arjun, what do you think of this? We got kids as young as 5 playing and
Wow.
as old as high school.
Yeah, I remember like when I was in India, we also used to have a team tournament like this, but we never really had like the Scholastic side of the team tournament. And I think this is like I would say like the Indian chess field is really nice, but like I would say like the I don't know, like the age differentiation is very limited to like the only like real age tournaments that you have is like under 9 nationals or something like that.
Right.
And I think this is like a really good like way to like introduce this kind of stuff. It's a bit more casual that people will like at least like the team tournaments are a little bit more casual than like individual tournaments, but it's also like nice because I think it's just a very nice system and allows for like more flexibility.
And it's really different because most tournaments that kids are used to are the regular Swiss tournaments.
Yeah.
They rarely get a chance to play a grade level tournament. There's usually like 1 or 2 a year, and especially if you go to the nationals. But certainly the team tournament, and there's a lot of kids that are playing this tournament that may not be fully aware of the team concept, although they'll learn it as the rounds go. But it's kind of fun because they start learning that what they do on one board may affect something that happens on another board. And I think it adds a fun element to sort of keep score in that way. And I know for you guys were doing the same when you were playing, but I'm sure there was a lot more hearts racing when you were doing it. But it adds another level of interest that's kind of exciting for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. Let's take a look at a game that is on the top table. This is Saif Jilani playing white against Adith Muthukumar, and generally all the players here are 1400 and under. And as you can see from the chess.com ratings, actually Adith is USCF 1529, and that is Dab Pac-Man. And he's playing Saif, who is USCF 868. So big rating difference, but also opportunity to pull an upset. But how does this look right so far for a white, who is the underdog?
Like
It looks
looking
kind
at
of rough.
I'm
Like,
looking
it's
at
like
some kind of bishop takes h7 ideas, like bishop h7, king h7, queen h5, king g8, rook e4.
just like knight f4 though.
Knight f4. Yeah, that is kind of annoying. Yeah. Okay, looks like queen h5 was played.
This is
Okay.
like this is pretty much like the way I like call it like some kind of timer because like white's pawn structure is not the best right now.
Yeah, so basically white has gone for a slightly compromised pawn structure with the hopes of getting some play on the king side.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm not so sure because now queen h5, if just g6, um, I mean, what do you even play there? Maybe you have to play queen f3 or something.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to make moves in this position.
Yeah,
Like if you don't play moves like queen f3, then you're scared of like maybe like knight c3, and you might just trade all the material and lose pawns.
exactly. And then if you like if the minor pieces come off the board, it's very difficult to continue the attack on the king side. So
It's also sad that like then the rook covers e3, so you can't even play like ideas like rook e3, rook h3 here. So
yeah.
maybe g6 you can go like queen h6, but I don't know.
But then I think just like you were saying earlier, just knight takes c3.
The problem is I
Uh,
think like you can go like bishop b7, rook e3, rook h3.
oh, I see. So basically knight takes c3, d takes c3, queen takes, and then if then you're saying bishop b7, rook b7, rook e3.
Yeah, something like that.
Huh. Let's see. Yeah, I guess I can't get my queen to g7 somehow, so it might be a bit
Yeah,
tricky. Yeah. Hmm.
so I was thinking that maybe to stop the queen h6 idea, black could try like h6, just like forcibly stopping it.
Like h6 in this position after queen
Yeah.
h5. Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's no reason, there's no need to play g6. I mean, um in fact, even f5 here might be kind of dangerous for white because
Oh, yeah, I did
you
not
can't
really
even really
consider
take
that.
that. Yeah.
And I'm just
And if you can't take f5, that's like really bad. Your attack is like pretty much come to a standstill.
Yeah, and the problem is if you take, then knight takes f6, and it's really like tricky because I mean you're gonna trade the knight for the bishop and then win the pawn on a4, and you basically have no attack, and black gets the nice open f file. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
all
It'll
right.
be interesting to
Yeah.
watch. Yeah.
Let me go on to board two on this match here and take a look.
Oh, he actually did play f5,
Okay,
but
cool.
yeah.
Nice.
And this is white is Cassius Lai playing Ecom Dot.
Nice. Looks like if white just plays rook takes c7 here, it should be completely winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, don't think there's much else to say. Yeah, because the
The
problem
knight
is
is pinned.
black can't castle because the knight will hang.
Yeah, black can never castle for the rest of the game. He has to play
Um,
something like f6 before he
but
castles.
then yeah, but then knight g6. So I think this game is pretty much like at this point like pretty much over.
Because even if white does trade pieces in the end, he is like up 2 pawns minimum because a7's gonna fall. So
And it looks like the Gales, who are the team representing white, board 3 and 4 for the Gales have already won their games. So uh, if white wins this game, that will win the match in the first round for the Gales against the Pintos. So
hmm.
actually, we had a few games that have already ended in the round. The time control is game in 20 plus 10, but since it is a younger crowd, the games do tend to go a little bit faster. That's sort of one of the practice of these developing players to use their time, because I think a lot of players are not used to having this much time uh, in their games. Usually they're playing G15 or something like that. Even when they have game in 30, they're playing faster. So hopefully we can get the kids to use their time a little bit more. Let me switch games here to another table. We got Robbie No Dude playing white against Sanat 2.
All right, looks like white's just up a piece.
Yeah, and then rook on a3 is kind of trapped.
Yeah, I mean, you just take on e6, play knight f4, and just convert the extra piece.
Hmm.
Yeah, not looking. Wow, look at this position. You're going to see shortly as I go to the next game. with my donkey 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. What kind of a username is that? Against Jazz 08.
Wow.
I mean,
I
doesn't matter what the
yeah,
username is. The position looks good. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I mean, knight h6 mate is the threat. Okay. I mean, now it's mate in one with knight h6 or queen h8. Both are mate.
oh
Or
yeah,
queen g5. Okay, so white has tons of mates here.
yeah. There it
So
is. Chose that
yeah,
nice one at h8. So
cool.
great job for my donkey 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. And here's Swirl Pawn playing white against Lightning Crusher 30. White's king in the middle of the board. Not the
And
best
down a
place to hang
queen.
around. And down a queen.
white happens to be missing a queen.
Yeah, I think it should be checkmate in a couple of moves for black.
The
I don't really see a mate though because the two rooks are kind of annoying.
I
But
mean, you can
yeah,
always do some kind of queen d3, queen d1 idea.
the rook's on a1 though, right?
Yeah, but like, I mean, what does white play here? Like,
Or white, yeah, but it's probably not going to be mated anytime soon.
no, but I mean,
So
if like,
bishop is never getting out of g3.
yeah, no, but I mean, now if white plays like king c2, then queen d3 and queen d1 is checkmate,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So,
I was thinking about king e1, but yeah,
oh, okay, yeah, I guess,
that does look
yeah.
like mate in like
yeah, it's
Oh yeah, now it should be
almost.
like queen d3 and rook b6. There's probably
Rook
something
b6, queen
there.
a6 is mate, right?
Yeah. Well, rook b6, king
yeah, it's coming.
c5, then rook c8 is mate. Yeah.
And here it comes.
Oh, we want rook b8. Okay, I mean it's still like
It's
mate in a
mate
couple
Because he
eventually.
ways,
can
yeah.
still go rook a6, right, to deliver the mate.
Yeah, and if king c5, probably queen c3 and queen c3 and rook d8. I don't know what's the
Or you could just take the rook and play queen b5 next move.
yeah.
So this will be mate on the board. White is trying to decide the manner in which the mate will happen. Here's a closer game here. It says Audi 7 GSW, which I'm going to interpret as Golden State Warriors against Ugandan Knuckles 7.
All right, so we have that white is down a pawn here, but if white just takes on c8 and takes on b6, he'll get his pawn back, and probably the endgame is very drawish. I
Yeah,
wonder if white has any potential to just like keep the queens on the board and somehow like try to win the b6 pawn and then push the a pawn.
And Arjun, someone in the chat is giving you congrats for you and your team winning the U.S. Amateur Team West.
yeah. Thanks again. I didn't mention it on the chat, but yeah, thank you.
And we highlighted some of your games in this week's newsletter, by the way. Both you guys. So Nick
My
DeFermian did
game's
the
not very good
annotation.
though, but yeah.
And you,
I think like
yeah, go ahead.
I think like after the tournament, like we came to the realization that only one person on our team actually like prepped openings for the tournament, and that was Nathan.
Well, he
And
went
he
6-0.
got-
He went 6-0. And that
Yeah,
same
he went
person,
6-0. It paid off.
the same person in the chat saying my team is playing the U.S. Amateur Team North. I'm bringing a 2186 average rated team led by Michael Bodek. I am.
That sounds like a strong team. It should
Yeah,
have very good
definitely.
chances.
Yeah. Hey, so we joked about whether UC Berkeley would enter another team in another region and just have basically the semifinal be 4 Berkeley teams winning each region. Is that
We
something?
were actually considering that.
Yeah, we actually talked about it,
But
but
then we realized all the rounds were in the morning, and it was like kind of annoying. Like nobody wants to wake up at
Yeah.
8 a.m. in the morning and play.
and I think for the amateur team East, I think the game started 9 a.m. Eastern, so we were just like, yeah, that's not happening.
So, and that's next week. Wow.
Yeah.
Look at this game. Let's go back to this. White looks like they're up a piece with Robbie No Dude against Sanat 2.
The only thing White needs to be careful of is somehow getting back rank-rated.
Or
Yeah.
A8, yeah. Oh,
Okay, d5, yeah. d5 is a nice move. Yeah, because now the king
Yeah.
can't go to d6 or e5. Oh, well, I guess
Yeah.
he went there, but now knight takes c4 will pick up another exchange. So
unfortunate there.
Yeah, so it looks like white is most probably going to win this one.
So the games are like dropping like flies. Like it's funny. There's so many games have already ended. Uh, and this is not like too surprising just because it's the first round. So there's mismatches on paper that happen. Uh, and it's not
Yeah.
until rounds 3 or 4 where things really tighten up. Let's let's check this game over here between Tasty Celery, Tasty Celery 7 against Not Draj.
This
Hmm.
looks like an upset.
Yeah, this is not looking great for white. I mean, I think white can't even stop checkmate next move, right?
Yeah, Rook H1 is made.
Or rook b1 if you play g3 or something.
And the funny thing is by USCF rating, the player playing black is 1044, and the player playing white is 677. So their USCF rating, the rating disparity is actually reversed because this
Oh,
is
I
their
see.
chess.com rating.
I
I
see.
see.
And it does look like mate is coming shortly. And he's
Hmm.
working that out. But what's the strategy in this game here? On paper, it's very dryish, but is there anyone that can try to make something short of waiting for someone to blunder?
So I
Um,
think usually even in a 4v3, if black gets h5, they can hold the position. So this definitely isn't really like a way for like white to push. I mean, given that they take on g4, the position is completely gone. But yeah.
yeah. And I think after taking on g4, generally speaking, even rook, h, and f pawn against just a rook is drawn in a lot of situations. So, I mean, theoretically, black could probably lose his remaining two pawns and still draw this game. Um, but I mean, obviously, he's not going to do that. But yeah, I think there's no danger for either side losing this position. It'll probably end in a draw, unless, short of a rook blunder, I think there's no other way uh, this game will have any other result.
And
White should probably like black should probably take on g4 before he allows like f4, g5 ideas, and that could potentially like lead to a rook blunder. But that's probably the only way I could see this position like changing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the sheet. There's actually not a whole lot of games, but let me see if I can pull up this game. We have a player that has been playing a lot of our events, taking a lot of our classes. She's developing really quickly. Her name is Jashith Karthi, and let me go to that game. She is white and she is jazz fork, and she apparently just won her game, which is right there. Uh, Jashith
Cool.
Karthi is white jazz fork against Reba V 2018. About to promote.
That's a very high chess.com rating.
Yeah, yeah. She takes a lot of Paul's classes, FIDE Master Paul Whitehead. Um, she's just she just loves playing and partaking in classes, and I think she's going to be someone that's going to make a lot of noise uh, around the Bay Area pretty soon, because
Nice.
yeah, and it's exciting to see uh, because we sort of saw her at the beginning, and and we've seen these players because it's a lot like you guys when you were started, right? You playing a lot of chess, taking every class you can, playing every tournament you can, and she's doing it, and she seems to really love it and enjoy it. So, looking forward to following her in the rest of the rounds and beyond the tournament. And here we have some development in the game between Audie and Ugandan Knuckles.
Yeah. So I
So
mean,
if
if
white
white,
just
if
takes
white,
the pawn here, it should be
yeah,
drawn.
and then like, I mean, f5, you can even just play rook d4. But
Mm.
I mean, if you want a truly active way, you can just even play rook d6 check, and after king
Rook d6,
g7,
king
just king
f4.
f4. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it should be it's like completely drawn. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking in the chat, and this is something that, like I said earlier, that the kids are playing this team tournament because they're playing the team tournament, but they may not fully be aware of the nuances of the team tournament. So we even have people in the chat saying, "Hey, I don't know what my team's called." Right? They're just playing. And then we've had some people that signed up as individuals that we help place on teams.
Hmm.
So we'll get all of that info, especially if you're someone that we just put together on a team. Um, what about this move here for black?
It shouldn't make much of a difference
Okay.
because even if black does win the pawn, the position is still theoretically drawn, and also that rook d4 exists. So
Yeah.
this position's not really going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, because even if black somehow wins the pawn on g4, like white can just bring the rook back to the third rank, and that's the Philidor position, which is a well-known drawing strategy for a player down a pawn. So
And we only have like 4 or 5 games left in the whole round.
Oh,
Oh.
black needs to be careful here, actually. Black could blunder with f takes g4.
yeah, so white is currently threatening rook d6 check to pick up the rook on g5. So
That does end the game
okay,
quickly.
rook
So
g4. Yeah, now the game is a draw. Cool.
And they have drawn the match back to take a look at this game. A white up a rook, just trying to close the show.
Yeah, we expect this one to end pretty soon.
mhm.
And then Tasty Celery is still trying to put up a fight in this game here. But looking like it's going to be tough to do that.
So what happened earlier,
Huh.
actually?
Yeah, because I thought black had checkmate in this game, so it looks like either someone missed an opportunity or like there was a defense we didn't see
So
or
let's
something.
go back to that. I think this was the
Oh,
position.
oh no.
Oh my
Rook
gosh.
h8 and
Oh my gosh.
Somebody pre-moved.
That happened. That happened.
oh no.
Yeah, but
Okay,
then
I mean luckily,
yeah,
after rook takes h1,
right.
you still win back the rook with rook b1.
Right. That's what happened, but you know
Oh no.
you know what? That's pretty smart by Tasty Celery. Is like a desperado, and that works.
Yeah,
But
reminds me of those bullet players who know that some people like as black will just always go for like
yeah.
the modern defense or something, and so they'll play d4 g6 bishop h6 hoping you'll pre-move bishop g7, they'll just win the game. So yeah.
And as players, you get a joy when you're able to do that to someone. It's not fair, but let's see. Follow. Yeah, this might
Okay.
be.
So black just has to be careful not to stalemate here, but
Yes, he has to find the maiden one here.
yeah. Okay, now
Or
rook
play that.
g4. I mean, I was gonna say, after okay, looks like missed the mate in one, but that's okay. I mean, sometimes it's better to just play it safe, promote another pawn and just win queen and rook versus king.
And I'm gonna flip to this game only because this one has the more potential for
Chances.
trickery.
It looks like maiden one.
Yeah, I think
Can't
this one
really, if you play rook d5, you can go like rook a7 and you can't really stop it.
yeah.
Or just trade rooks.
Yep.
Or actually, you can just grab the rook.
Going for the easy route, and it looks like this might be the last game of the round. Actually, Tasty Celery is still going, but there's going to be a mate soon on that board.
What happened on board one? That was a interesting looking game.
That was let me Saif chess.
I believe like white one, I think they were mentioning there's like on the chat that
Black
the
one.
high school Gales one.
Yeah,
Oh, I
black.
thought it was on the high school Gales
Yeah,
one,
the
but yeah.
Gales won every board
Oh wow.
in
Okay.
that. Yeah. So so this is it, and then this is the final game of the round. I'm seeing in the tournament that Andrew Ballantyne is still going, but I cannot pull up his game. Let me see.
This is very reminiscent of the old no resign rule that my coaches used to give me.
Did they used to tell you that? Are you one of that?
I think for me, it wasn't for every tournament, but specifically
Oh,
in
here we go.
Scholastic tournaments, I was told to never resign. And honestly, I think I stick by it. I mean, even I think my senior year of high school, I played the high school nationals, and I managed to draw a game where I was straight up down a rook and a piece in the end game, because he was like so low on, and this was against like a 2400,
Wow.
just because he was low on time in the end game. And,
And just
he
panicked.
made a, yeah, he panicked and like somehow gave all the material back, and so really at like in these Scholastic tournaments anything can happen, um, especially if you have a very small increment or like delay or something like that, where flagging is a real risk.
Well, speaking of flagging is a real risk, Andrew
Wow.
Ballantyne, who's a mechanics regular, playing blacks, got 58 seconds left on the clock against Sparky Chess Tiger 2021, who's got a full 14 and a half minutes.
Wow.
But has, wow, did I just miss? Oh, the queen was being attacked. Because I'm seeing,
And good thing is that there's 10-second increment, so there's like a lot of leeway
right,
to like
right.
play in time trouble.
So like players can just move king back and forth and just build up 20 seconds right there. That's valuable.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how white is managing their time, because even though black's in time trouble, white is still like is playing instantly. I noticed that like a lot of players actually do this for some reason. Is like the second that their opponent gets in time trouble, they start moving faster instead of slower, and
Yeah.
that is a very punishing thing actually.
And what do you tell me about that? Because I've talked about it with Nick and Paul that is that because the instinct is to start moving fast to put pressure on the opponent, but are you actually hurting yourself because maybe that's the time to really buckle down and find the right solution and not let yourself get carried so fast?
It depends. It requires on judging the position, obviously. But the thing is that like by moving fast, you do make your opponent have no time to think, but you also have no time to think.
I think the
So
bigger point is, I remember my coach explained this to me once. He used to say that it's actually, psychologically speaking, it's actually better to take more time when your opponent is in time
yeah,
trouble. Just because, like, when they're in time trouble, they're kind of running on adrenaline, right? And they're expecting you, like, if you play fast, they're ready to play fast as well. But if you're just sitting there and taking your time and thinking, then they kind of just have to sit there waiting for, like, the point when you're going to make that move, and then they have to play quickly again. And so it kind of throws them off their game a little bit. And of course, there's also the aspect that, yeah, like you're less likely to blunder something, and you'll, generally speaking, play better moves. So,
also another aspect is that like when you're considering like a certain variation, they have to consider all of your moves and responses for all of your moves during your time, because they don't actually have that much time to make a move. So if you spend like 5 minutes on the position, for example, right, you would have a better odds to like spend that time to be more useful for you.
And you look at this position with Andrew with 30 seconds left, and then his opponent. He's sort of creating a little bit of pressure here, right? So Sparky Chess Tiger's been moving somewhat quickly, but I mean, it surely would benefit him to spend a little more time thinking because he got the,
oh
the,
yeah,
the knight
definitely. I mean,
pinned.
this,
The,
yeah, with that bishop on b6, like
oh,
White even has to be
This
careful of,
position isn't that simple for white.
yeah, White has to even be careful here of like getting checkmated. Okay,
Also,
well,
I
I
don't
guess,
know if the endgame is actually even better for white, because that pawn on c3 is kind of scary.
yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, I think I actually like Black here, because I mean, he's gonna win the e4 pawn
wow,
now.
yeah.
he's also threatening bishop f2 in addition to like simple stuff.
Yeah, and here, like, what do you play? I mean, knight f5 or something, and then
And Sparky was up a pawn,
yeah.
and
I mean,
now
it was looking pretty nice. I think instead of f3, maybe if knight takes g4 earlier.
Also, I think instead of bishop h2, bishop takes c3 was better.
Yeah, that's also possible. Yeah. Well, then you have to be careful because I mean, I can even play bishop takes f3.
Queen takes and then queen h3 and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, still, I can play like, queen f4 or something, and then try to like
Yeah, the
bring the
queen
rook to
h6.
h6. Huh?
Let-
Oh,
let- let-
bishop's on c3. Okay. So I have
oh,
to be careful. Yeah.
Ooh, this position
boy.
does not look good for white at all, in fact.
Yeah, because now bishop d1, you
D1.
win the pawn on c2.
yeah, that happened. Actually, you may start collecting
And, and,
pawns.
and look at this. He suddenly has a lot of time.
Yeah, that's the 10-second increment.
Right.
Probably instead of bishop c7, bishop e5 was the way to go. Try to trade off that c3
Bishop
pawn.
e5, bishop c3 is probably like the only way to survive.
Yeah,
And
I think
now,
this is looking pretty tough for white now. I mean, just bishop back to f5 or something. Yeah, that's a good move.
and this just
Cutting off the
goes,
knight from the king side completely.
and this just goes to what we said. Take your time in those
Oh
moments.
no, bishop d2 here was very
Yeah,
important.
bishop d2 is I see, missed bishop d2. Okay, so I mean, white still has a fighting chance in this game, especially now that it's not going to be so easy for black to dislodge that bishop from c1. So
Yeah, but the problem is that the b3 pawns don't really have defenders.
yeah, I mean, now just bishop b4 and bishop e6. Yeah,
Also,
maybe.
it's very easy for black to make moves in this position compared to earlier positions.
And
And that knight's trapped, I think.
and
Yeah.
did any of you happen to know anyone in the chat, Phantom Beast 23? See, this is the thing with the chat, right? You don't know if it's one of the kids or someone that knows you guys. But it's awesome to see the level of participation. A lot of people watching the kids event, and the kids event is going to get even tighter as we go into the rounds, round by round.
Can this position be held?
I think so. I mean, I'm looking at like knight takes b4 and a5. So yeah, I mean, I think this comes down to like one thing with opposite colored bishops is typically if you can place your bishop in a way such that you block all of your opponent's extra pawns on the opposite color as your own bishop, then you have very good drawing chances. For example, in this position, if white is able to bring his king to b2 and then basically play g3, bishop f4, there is basically no way for black to make progress.
And Judith is in the chat saying hi to you guys.
Hi, Judith.
Hello.
2 games left. Andrew is saving this game, it seems, she says.
Yes, king c3. It looks like he's going for this exact plan. Bringing the king to b2, put the bishop on f4, and then it'll be impossible to do anything.
This is actually kind of annoying for black.
Yeah, black has to be careful about that passed a pawn.
Because like bishop f4 check is a realistic threat here.
Yes, so black should probably play... I mean, I don't know. What should black play here? Maybe just
might have
bishop
to keep the
a8
draw
or
here.
something. Yeah, bishop a8, and if king c3, just go back, bishop d5.
You still have king e6.
Oh
so
no,
it's not
f6
the
was
end of the
played.
world.
Yeah. a7 first. Okay. Yeah.
And Andrew's built up his time to over a minute, so at least he has some time to think this out.
Yeah, but now there's no way to make progress.
Yeah, I don't think either side can make progress here.
King c5.
King c5.
The thing is, black can actually give up his bishop for the pawn if white ever gets to b8, and he still has enough time, and he'd probably just win the game.
Yeah, I think if white gets too ambitious here and tries to like queen the a pawn to win black's bishop, the b and c pawns might be too strong.
Because black can go something like king e5, king e4 here, and it's kind of scary.
Exactly, yeah. And I think black will be faster to get the king to c3, and then just b2 will win the game.
So the danger
But
here is that white might try to push the king too far away, and
Exactly. Yeah, I mean if
also,
white
white
plays
has a
like king
simple draw
b6
here.
here,
White can just go king b4, bishop d5, a8, queens.
yeah, that's a very simple draw. I feel like somehow it feels to me like white is somehow trying to push this for a win, but
white just offered a draw
oh,
on the
okay.
board, so
Take that back then. Yeah,
we'll
so
had a change of heart,
um,
and it's been declined.
okay. I mean, yeah, just if king b4, bishop d5, a8, queen. I mean, there's not really even much to talk about. Yeah.
The pawns have kind of been fixed on light squares, which is not the way you fix your pawns when you're trying to win in opposite color bishops.
Yeah,
Like
I think the problem was once it got traded down, black's pawn was already on c2, so there was not really
yeah,
anything better to do.
there's nothing much you can
Now,
do.
can black do anything if he goes after the G pawn and
Um,
then pushes
I
the
mean,
B pawn to?
so white definitely has to be careful here. I think if he plays king b4 right away, it should be a draw. Um, if he waits
That
any,
just
or,
wins the
yeah, or
pawn,
king
though.
c4, that's fine. Because otherwise, yeah, white runs the risk of if he loses the g3 pawn, it should be winning for black. So,
I mean, both the pawns
um,
have fallen here,
yeah,
so
I mean, loses the g3 pawn and doesn't win the b and c pawns, then it's winning for black. But now, yeah, as is, this is completely drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bishop
it's
e5
just
check,
whoever
and
wants to
then,
give up
yeah.
their pawn for the bishop.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's
And the funny thing
there's
is black went from fabulous comeback to now disappointment, probably because thought they could try to win the game, but well played by Sparky after getting into a little bit of trouble.
yeah, I mean, I think that's how some of these games tend to go. Like they'll be very, very up and down, like both players will have winning chances, but in the end, like they'll kind of peter out to a draw.
And now black
So,
has offered the draw.
yeah, I'm sure it'll be accepted in due time.
I don't know.
It's interesting how they offer the draw on their turn.
Yeah, so generally speaking, in I guess FIDE and USCF rules, you're supposed to offer the draw as you make your move. So basically, you make a move and with it you offer a draw.
Right. And this is the final game of the round.
Yeah, so it looks like this is going to be a draw. Black will just pick up the pawn on a7. Just king c6 and it's Zugzwang. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can do anything here. Doesn't matter.
And there it is. Draw has been accepted, and the round is done. And the tournament directors are entering the results, and shortly they will post the standings after the first round. Big shout out to the chief tournament director, Judith Starre, who I was telling these guys we had quite the scare yesterday because this event was originally supposed to be held on Chess Kid. And she scheduled a practice tournament yesterday for 4 p.m. So we could get kids acclimated to Chess Kid and understand the team format and everything. And Chess Kid did some update, and there was some bug in the system that did not allow us to manually pair and start games, which we typically always are able to do. And so with the cooperation of all the kids who were amazingly patient during the Zoom call yesterday and reaching out to the parents last night and early this morning, we were able to transition all but one to the chess.com platform and run this event on chess.com. So thank you to Judith for sort of helping coordinate all of that and getting everyone transitioned. And thank you to the parents who were very cooperative. And the kids were amazingly patient in the Zoom call, even though clearly we were in almost crisis mode. They were patient with us, and here we are. We got it done. So kudos to Judith and the tournament directing team. Reika Stare is helping direct the tournament along with Juan Sendejas. And yeah, it's just amazing that we're still able to get this done. And the chief tournament director is John McCumsky, who's a veteran of team events, directed the U.S. Amateur Team West event. And yeah, team effort getting it all done. Hey, so do you guys have any favorite games from your U.S. Amateur Team West?
Maybe Arjun, you want to start it off?
I think the only memorable game I had was my game against Teemu.
Yeah,
But
and that was in the newsletter that has since been released. The Mechanics Institute newsletter comes out usually every Saturday, 10 a.m. I'm going to put the link in the chat there. It is out, so check it out, and you'll see that game between Arjun and Teemu. Fantastic tactical shot to end that game. And we were watching that game live when that happened, so that was a lot of fun.
so the game actually primarily came down to the way I abused the time control.
Tell us a little more about that.
So I think like I blundered the pawn. When I blundered the pawn, we were both at 40 minutes each.
Yeah.
But after that, I kind of like read him like a book. Like I knew exactly what move he was going to play and what move I was going to play after that. So I didn't spend more than a minute on any of my moves after that.
And I think it was Nick. We were Grandmaster Nick DeFermian and Paul. They were both saying that wow, Queen G8 can come, Queen G8, and then I think Teemu moved a knight that sort of removed that. Or we didn't see it in that moment because he was super short on time.
Yeah.
And got that shot in there, and then Kesav, you won a nice little game against the chair of our chess committee at the Mechanics Institute, Grandmaster Patrick Wolf.
Yeah, that was a very very dynamic game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it started out with some like I guess standard Nidor theory. I kind of knew that line like from when I used to play it as black, this H5 idea in the English attack, and so I had like some familiarity like with the kind of resulting pawn structure that came out of the opening. But yeah, I mean, I think definitely when I won the exchange, I somehow thought like, okay, I would be able to trade the dark square bishops and eventually like push my passed B pawn or like create a passed B pawn and just push it to victory. But his knight on D3 turned out to be very strong. So I ended up like having to play this rook takes D3 and rook D1 idea. So basically just going for a pawn up endgame.
So what I'm going to do here, and actually I highlighted another game that you played, Kesav, for the newsletter, and let me take a look. What game was that? And before I do, for fun, I thought I'd show a couple of those games. You guys can talk about it, but it was the game you played against. I'm looking it up. There's a lot of games in the newsletter. Like we had so many exciting games that were worth a look.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You must check out the newsletter. And just the different type of players, because with the U.S. Amateur Team West, you get matchups of players that you would not normally see playing each other, right? Because some players don't come out except for the Amateur West.
Definitely, yeah.
So, let's see. And, actually, Arjun we used a
Okay, so
game against Keaton. Your game against Keaton,
yeah.
Kira.
So the story behind this G3 move was actually that I think before the game, Teemu was like, "I can't prep for you. You're gonna play some random pawn move." And I was like, "Okay, I will give you. I'll roll an RNG number between 1 to 8, and I'll play whichever pawn move comes up." And I rolled a 7. So like, I'm gonna move to the 7th pawn by G3.
So this is the backstory of like how that happened. So for anyone watching, this is the game from the U.S. Amateur Team West between Arjun Bharat, who is white, against Teemu Verton and FIDE Master. Made the newsletter. It has an amazing ending, and I'll let you describe. So he knew G3 was coming?
He knew G pawn was gonna be moved. I mean, I think he kind of expected G4 to some extent because I like at least in like the club we make a lot of fun of G4, and actually whenever I play Bug House I like try to move I try to play G4 sometimes for fun, but.
And in the chat,
So,
yeah, the Amateur West was a
I
stacked
kind of was
tournament.
on autopilot here, and I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing.
You're just making it up as you go?
Yeah, I was kind of making it up as I go. My position wasn't very good. Also, I mouse flipped here. I meant to play King H2.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then Teemu and me both realized that during the game this was like a complete mouse flip.
And what would be
Because
the
I
idea of
think
King
H1
H2?
I mean, the idea of King H2 is I'm predicting the H3 pawn, right?
Got it.
I'm not really going to make a move here. I don't really want to resolve the queen, the queen side just yet. And so like my idea was that like with the king on H2, I'm protecting the H3 pawns in case I need to move the bishop. And I was thinking about this before, is that if I play G4 and like that ever opened up, I have H takes D4, bishop H3.
And then moving along.
But like, as the game continued, I completely forgot my king was on H1.
Like in your mind, it was on H2.
Yeah, my mind was on H2.
And the next round starts at 11 a.m. And we should see the standings pretty soon. We are going over Arjun's game against Teemu from the U.S. Amateur Team West. Arjun playing white.
In this position, Black has achieved pretty much everything Black wants to achieve in the opening.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw this game somewhere around here, and I was thinking, okay, this is looking pretty nice. This is looking pretty nice for Black, but then suddenly it wasn't. Yeah, and then this nice knight takes G4 shot.
G5, G5. So he actually thought bishop B3 was forced here. Teemu thought bishop B3 was forced here, and he played that instantly. But bishop D3 was actually a bad move.
Oh, is that right?
Is the point that you have to play like bishop?
Because the point is that my
something,
queen wants to go to E1.
Yeah, but I mean, you're gonna play queen E1 no matter what he does, pretty much, right? So,
No, but if you play bishop C4, I'm moving my rook, not my queen.
oh, bishop C4 is the idea. But bishop C4, can I? No, I can't play H takes G4. So,
Yeah, because I'm still getting mated. So
yeah. So, okay, I guess that is the way to go then. Yeah.
Stuff.
Wow.
So you got to.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, like when you look at this position, I mean, it's one of those weird things. Like when you see knight takes the position after knight takes G4, I think it looks nice for Black, but then suddenly F5, GF5, EF5, and it looks like it might be okay. Might be playable for White. I actually wonder, did he have to take on F5?
yeah, he did, because otherwise queen takes G4.
Oh, the rook needs to protect the knight, right? So, yeah.
So moving along.
Wow.
So he actually had 40 minutes before like bishop B3. Like before he played knight F6, he had 40 minutes.
Yeah, it was funny because we were toggling between games, and you know how you hover over a game, you can see the position, and it just looked the same for the longest time. And I'm like, okay, no need to go back to that game because like nothing's been played yet. But then it got to a point. Well, let's take a look because he's really deep in thought, and.
This position is not so easy. I think this position is already like fine for me.
Yeah, I mean, this already looks very scary for Black. I mean,
So
just the bishop
I actually was just
h6.
winning here. I completely missed it, but rook takes d7 just wins on the spot here
And he played king h8, you know,
after a long time.
after a
But yeah,
long time, and it was, not the best option. Um,
I actually completely missed the whole idea behind rook takes g7, king takes g7, bishop h6. And if king takes h6, you can go queen e3, queen g5, and that's actually mate.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
just thought bishop
that's not
h6
so
is
easy
like,
to see, I think. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, now that
It's
you know it, it's easy to see, but like the thing is like, I just completely
yeah.
missed the idea. I could just give up the bishop on h6 and then go queen e3.
Yeah, I mean intuitively like after rook g7, king g7, I'm looking for some queen g3, bishop h6, rook a8
Yeah,
ideas,
yeah.
but like then knight e8 and it looks like black might hold that. But the way to go is like this bishop h6, which is pretty crazy.
Mhm.
So you went queen g3,
Yeah.
trying to put the pressure.
I mean, it still looks very scary for black because I mean, if knight e8 and then rook a8 here was played, right? Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
So I think here he assumed that he was one move faster. He completely missed that like after queen h5, queen f5, rook h4, he's just losing to queen g8 or like bishop d7. He just assumed he had an extra tempo here, so that I would take the rook and then rook h3 is mating me. But like also I don't think he had like 2 minutes here, so he just didn't have the time to make moves. While I was still sitting on like 45 minutes.
And then he took. Now,
I mean,
And
does
after
rook
bishop h6, though.
does rook h4 right away stop this idea?
No, bishop g5.
Yeah, bishop g5. Yeah, you don't have anything there. I think after, yeah, I guess after bishop e5, queen g2,
After
it's
queen
already
g2, it's
like,
like +6 or something like that. It's
yeah,
just over.
it's already tough. Yeah,
so then bishop there.
yeah. I mean, this matchup specifically, there were a lot of really nice games actually.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I think.
no. Actually, in the newsletter that just came out, the link is in the chat. Paul Whitehead wrote about the two games in the round where it was rook against two knights.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool to see actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think in one case the two knights won, and the other one they lost.
right.
Right.
In both cases, the two
So
knights should have won, though.
yeah, that's true. I
And,
mean,
and
Junior was definitely on top.
and Paul was just fascinated at just that matchup and that it was happening not only in the same round but in the same team match
Yeah,
in boards 3 and 4. So he devoted a whole article to those two games and kind of exploring those ideas. So that yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then for those that did not see this ending, look at that. Queen g8 just ends the game. Because after rook takes queen, rook takes
Rook
rook
takes
check,
And
king takes, and then rook takes the knight on e8.
so I think in addition to queen g8 winning, I think bishop g7 is also winning, but queen
yeah.
g8 is just a nicer
I was
finish.
looking at like bishop g7 or even like. Oh yeah, actually, I guess you can't play rook e8 because rook h3. So yeah, you have to play like some check. I mean, I saw queen g8, but I was like, okay, even if he doesn't find that, I think bishop g7 should be good enough.
Bishop g7,
The idea
king
there
g.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, the idea there is that if bishop g7, bishop takes g7, you have queen takes g7, and that's also kind of a nice checkmate there. After knight takes g8, rook takes f8. So
So Arjun, you should be disappointed. You weren't finesse enough. You should have done bishop g7.
I know, but bishop g7 is not mate. Queen g8
yeah, I
is
mean,
mate.
if king g8, the game continues, right? So queen g8 just ends the game instantly. But
And Teemu seemed to right away because he seemed to like resign instantly after queen g8.
Yeah, because I think like the second you see queen g8, like the second queen g8 is played on board, it's over.
yeah,
There's
and I think it's also yeah, it's also nice to kind of just resign right after queen g8. Like if you have, if you love the game and you kind of respect these like, nice moves like queen g8, you want to resign right after queen g8 so that the final position has this beautiful like,
Right.
queen sacrifice on the board.
So it's the same situation if you're about to get smother mated where you sacrifice the queen and the knight takes you and then you checkmate with the knight. You have to let it happen so that it can be
Yeah,
seen, right?
absolutely.
In that case, you don't resign.
Yeah.
You have to get checkmated beautifully. So yeah, fantastic game there.
I wouldn't say it's fantastic, but it was doable.
Yeah, it was
I
exciting for
think
us to
really
watch.
badly
Yeah,
opening, but yeah.
yeah. No, for you guys, it was probably filled with mistakes, but for us, it was like a lot of action. So great game from the round. All right, let's take a look to see if we have updated standings after one round. And I'm going to put the link in the chat for people to follow the standings and the individual results. If you go here, you should be able to see it all. Another thing we were talking about is Ryan seems to be like the most valuable chess player on earth because he's gone now to 3 straight U.S. Amateur Team West semifinals on
He is very consistent.
3 completely different teams.
Yeah.
I remember when go ahead.
He was super consistent. Like, he didn't lose a game this tournament.
Right, and he seemed to know what he needed to do. So even in the final round when he was playing Grandmaster Andrei Gorovets, he seemed to know that, all right, I just got to keep this thing as equal as I can, wait to see what's happening on the other boards, and just keep it balanced, right? And then, he had that nice little fortress against Jennifer Yu with his knight and rook against the queen. I remember when I first met him, when I got back into chess, I think it was 2012. I think he was 10 years old, and he was already a FIDE master. And he was at a tournament playing an over-the-board tournament playing Walter Brown, and that game should have been a draw. He ended up losing because he blundered in time pressure, but he was already super strong, and it seems like he's just enhanced his strength even more. And it's just consistent as heck. I mean, 3 straight Amateur Team West championships, 3 different teams. I'm just glad he's on your guys' side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very impressive. Yeah, I didn't actually know that. That's really cool. Yeah. Wow.
And I think this was the first time he played on board 1, because last year I believe he was board 3 actually last year, on a team that had Gabriel Bick and Ladia Jurassic.
Oh wow! Okay.
Also.
Yeah.
Hey, what happened to Ladia? How come he didn't play?
Probably just timing didn't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we were like looking at this after and realized that, like, if all of the players played, we could have probably filled like 7 or 8 teams. We had and we had like probably 2 or 3 more good teams to field, like 21 like 90 average teams.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, because we also had like Alex Beyond
and
Joshua Shang, right?
Well, Joshua Shang played on the C team.
Played.
Oh, he was on the C team. Yeah.
But who was that other 20? Oh, Daniel Lin, and Kirit Banuganti, he didn't play either. So yeah, there were definitely a lot of other strong players who could have been part of these teams. So that would have been a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, definitely it was great to see, UC Berkeley send 6 teams. That's like pretty crazy.
No, and the other thing too is that you're sort of the chess club, the chess community there is, I mean, it's almost like you have like master level trainers just amongst yourselves to talk out things and explore ideas, and that certainly has to play, a big role in being able to work some of this stuff out. Just like in the Queen's Gambit, if you've seen it, she had her team working with her for prep. You guys got a whole classroom full of people where you can discuss things. What's that chess club like? Is that once a week when you were doing over the board, or?
Yeah. It's a very casual like thing. We just get there, we play like a bunch of blids, maybe some bug house, and then we have like maybe 1 or 2 people playing like longer rapidish games, and it's just like a nice over the board feel. and like sometimes you like I think like when we usually like technically finish around 6, but like sometimes if we're down to play more, we just go to like a like the restaurants over there and we just continue playing.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then like I think like there've been days I've like played to like 12 and like 4, like whenever it like starts.
They basically they got to kick you out, right, at night.
Yeah, we'll keep moving around and then find like someplace to play. But, yeah.
And here you see the current standings. The Dublin High School Gales, they're the number 1 seed. Won all 4 games in their first round. They got a point. A lot of the Fallon teams, big shout out to Fallon and Eric Lai and all the rest. A huge chess club. We had a few draws, actually, quite a few team draws. So a lot of teams at a half, and those are the standings going into round 2, which starts in about 15 minutes or so, and then we'll have 2 rounds in the book. At least these kids, they got to play the whole event in one day. You guys had to do it over 2 days. At the end of day 1, do you guys get together and talk strategy and what's gonna do?
We
had a team meeting after round 3. Yeah.
I think that's because like we had 2 teams on 3 out of 3, so we were kind of like deciding what we would do if we did end up facing each other.
Okay, dude, I have to ask, right? So when it came down to, you knew 2 undefeated teams were gonna face each other, like, do you guys say, hey, we're just gonna, whatever happens, or how does that whole discussion go?
So actually, like the reason like it worked out the way it worked out is because Ashita and Nathan were both full points and playing for board prizes.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think like the thing is like they really wanted to play, and I think like Teemu.
That is funny.
Like Ryan was also down to play. I was like, I don't really care because at least one Cal team is going to be in a decent spot. If we draw, we have 2 Cal teams in a decent spot, because like the other competitive team, their tie breaks were really bad because they took a bye, right? So
you were the only player that had a more holistic approach. Everyone was like, hey, I want to go for the board prize. I want to go for
actually, like, if you see Nathan's game, right, before he played Rook A5, he was actually considering whether or not to take a draw in that position.
I think I'm actually glad he didn't, because I think I was looking at it afterwards, and like if we had tied that match, we would have been on 4.5, or 4.5. And there was one other team that had 4.5, and that was the team led by GM Gorovets. And so definitely would have been a much more stressful round 6 for whichever team played against them.
Yeah, because at least this way we guaranteed second.
Right.
Yeah, and like plus having a half-point advantage means you can tie the match in round 6 and still win the tournament.
We could have tied the match either way.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes down to tie breaks and like having so many teams with 5 out of 6, that would have been pretty scary. So.
Yeah, you benefited because there was a crucial draw in round 5 between the teams that kind of created that separation a little bit.
Yeah, and the same thing happened for us. Like, even though we lost round 5, going into round 6, we were the only team with 4 out of 5. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, everything came together in round 6. I mean, we had that very unfortunate mouse slip in the game between Christopher Pan and Abi Panagalapati, where clearly he mouse slipped, hung a piece and hung a fork of the rooks.
I don't think it would have made much of a difference, because I think he was like Christopher is like better in that position.
Sure.
Yeah.
But does it add any psychological advantage? Like, did you feel it, Arjun, when you knew that game had ended early? Because I was saying that.
So I was actually just holding my position till I saw a result.
Okay.
I was deciding if I need to press or if I need to just take a draw based on a result.
Because I was kind of in the same boat in like every game. I mean, that was kind of my strategy going into the tournament, I think. Especially, being board 1, I figured I'd play a lot of people who are like at or above my strength. And so I was like, okay, I'll just play like something that like keeps some pieces on the board, but if needed, I can always like liquidate down to a draw.
And for a lot of the kids that are watching this, that may even be playing the team tournament as they're on break, Yeah, it's something to consider is that even as your game is going, what happens in the other games of your teammates may dictate whether you going to play more aggressive, whether you're just trying to keep things solid, and at the higher level, this is going on in everyone's mind in every round.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that was unique to the Berkeley teams is that, um, like on paper, our teams may have looked stacked because we had very high average ratings and very low rated board fours. But I think generally speaking, the rating difference between our boards 1 and 2 was lower than it was for a lot of the other teams. Um, like even if you look at um, like what was it, the San Jose Chess Warriors, or the team with Patrick Wolf. Like I think there was a like almost a 300 to 400 point rating gap between boards 1 and 2, and so basically the idea there is that like our board 1 would be much lower rated than their board 1, but then boards 2 and 3 would be much higher rated. So basically, if you can hold a draw on board 1, that's like always a pretty good result.
Yeah, I think going into the tournament, I thought C team was our strongest team.
Absolutely, same here. I thought the C team was gonna win it.
And
because like they had Josiah, Josh, and Michael. So they had like a really stacked like 1, 2, 3, right? Which is like usually the way you want to like go with this.
And what?
Yeah,
and
but
what,
I think
what happened there, because I can't remember where the.
So they were upset by the Stanford A team in round 3.
Oh my gosh! Is that the game where Michael Wang? He had a tough.
He tragically blundered the rook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a very tough tournament, sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and yeah, we were watching that game and we were following that, and we saw that and it's tough with the time pressure like that, and he got forked with the knight. Very unfortunate. And because that would have been a draw, right, for the match.
Yeah,
but that would I think if that game had ended in a draw, I think Stanford still would have won, right?
Oh yeah, Michael needed to win.
Right? Yeah,
and I don't think better at some point though.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw it when it was the rook and 3 pawns against the rook and knight, and it didn't look winning.
Because the game was drawn. And
because the king was holding the pawns, right? So I thought it was drawn.
Yeah.
So
Stanford actually had a surprisingly stacked team. So
and is Bryce and Emily, are they like brand new to Stanford, like this year?
If I remember correctly, Bryce is 2 grades below me, so he would have been. So this would be a sophomore year.
Okay.
And I think Emily Nguyen might be a freshman.
Yeah, because I don't remember seeing. Well, Bryce didn't play last year at the West, or at least that I can remember. They had a strong team.
Maybe if he had taken a gap year or something, I'm not sure. But I think on paper he should be a sophomore. Yeah.
And if you're tuning in, round 2 starts in about 9 minutes. And the guys are going to stick with me to cover round 2. And then we take a little lunch break. And then Lauren Goodkind is going to join me for round 3. And then for rounds 4 and 5, we're going to have Ashrita Swaran and Michael Wang hanging out and covering the end of the U.S. Amateur Team West Scholastic Championship. And we're pretty excited about this Scholastic because last year at the live event in Burlingame, we had 270 players for the hey Alexi Root is in the chat. We had 270 players for the live event and then 300 for the online event, which we're really happy about. But for the Scholastic event, we had about 70 last year, and we have about 120 this year. So we're excited that the kids have transitioned online and participated in this event. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And I think in some ways, like being online is actually better because you don't have all these logistical issues of having to, travel to the tournament. I mean, I know a lot of the people who typically play this are from the Bay, but even still, the commute can be like a bit of a hassle sometimes. And so just being able to play online from the comfort of your own home, that definitely makes it easier to sign up and actually put together a team and play this thing.
And we actually had some players and some teams that I don't think we would have seen if not for it being online, with Jennifer Yu playing. And even Patrick Wolf and Mark Pinto, who's another Mechanics Institute trustee and FIDE master,
And I
they
remember like John Donaldson was also like
yeah, and
even surprised.
even his participation was because him and Mark Pinto teamed up with friends from the East Coast, and
Interesting.
it was because they played. It was the same with Patrick Wolf. It was because he was able to connect with them and play online that they played as a team. So, and there were probably
that's
a few
awesome.
teams like that where, a couple of people from the Bay Area, but because they could connect with people they knew elsewhere and come together as a team, they were able to do it, which
Yeah.
was
I was always
awesome.
wondering, like, if the whole amateur team setup, because it's online this time, a team can theoretically play all 4 amateur teams.
We tried to sell that. I don't know if it worked. I don't know how many people would do that. And the other sort of hurdle in all of that is that, yes, you can play all 4 team tournaments. 2 of them are going to be held on chess.com. 2 of them are going to be on ICC. So you're going to have some different experiences if you do that. I would love to see a Chess Life article or chess.com article where someone does actually play all 4 and just talks about the experience of it, because I think that'd be a lot of fun. The North is going to be on chess.com also. Glenn Panner and Merritt Thorpe of Chess Weekend, they'll be running it, and I'm sure they'll do a phenomenal job. The East is next weekend. Steve Doyle, the same person that does all U.S. Amateur Easts. And then Frank Guadalupe at the Amateur South at the end of the month. So that's also an ICC. So I'm curious if we'll have a team out there somewhere that partakes in all 4. That would be interesting. Interesting to write about. I mean, if I was a U.S. Chess Federation, I'd pay someone to play all 4 and write about it, because I think that'd be a good story.
Yeah, that'd be really cool actually.
You guys should,
I know, like,
should reach out, see if they'll pay your entry. Hey, tell us a little bit about your sponsorships, because I noticed you're able to get some support, and that's super cool. You want to tell us about?
Yeah, so a lot of this was run by Devanshi. She's kind of like our outreach.
Yeah.
And she's very well, like she manages the club like really well, especially when it comes to like logistical stuff.
Uh-huh.
And so she was the one who actually found us the sponsorship, and so I think the company is called like Flow Traders, and they do like sponsor some they do sponsor like some chess clubs, or I'm not sure if it's chess clubs, but they do sponsor some like intellectual like clubs, and that was really nice for us because they allowed us to like play both Pan Ams and US Amateur Team West, and that was we're very glad that they were able to like let us like play both tournaments. But yeah.
And I wonder what that outreach looked like, because you sort of have to sell to them the idea of what you do, and interest them to financially support you guys.
I don't think they were too keen on how we spent the money. We just had to like tell them, and if they were fine with it, they were fine with it.
Oh, perfect.
Right? They told us that they didn't have a lot of like restrictions with the money, and they just wanted like more outreach. And
that's perfect.
I think like it was really nice for them to do that, and I think there's like a lot of stuff, at least like given like COVID time, that we could do with that sponsorship. Yeah.
And I just have a random game up, so it's not the tournament. It's not. I basically use this to set up the board so that when we start the broadcast, it's all lined up. So random game we're watching here. Lucky them, they had no idea that they're going to be on a broadcast, but here it is. We got 3 minutes to the start of the round. Pairings are up. They've been up. Let me go to round 2. It looks...
Oh, it's these mirror positions.
Let me see.
You know the ones where like when I was younger, you used to have these people who used to play every single move that you used to play until you go like bishop d5 or something like that.
Yeah, there's actually I think
Copycat.
there is one famous line that actually goes like that. It's like the 4 knights defense. like e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, bishop b5, bishop b4, then both sides castle, d3, d6. And then I think after bishop g5, I think black, that's when black has to kind of do something different. I think bishop g4 is not so good there. But like, I mean, up till then, it's like just a copy for both sides. So it's pretty funny, yeah. Yeah, I think there like black has to play like bishop takes c3 or knight e7 or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. But yeah, that's always fun. There was even I want to say in one of the world championships, I feel like there was like one of those lines in the Petrov where it was like pretty symmetrical. I don't know if it was like exactly a copy.
I think c4 also has some variations, or black like it just copycats and goes like c5.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then eventually somebody like breaks with d4 or b4 or something, right? And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
yeah.
And then they try to take break back or something like that.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah. And I guess maybe the exchange Slav also has some ideas like that. I don't know.
Not really, because like white has so many threats in the exchange slab that black needs to play defensive to like fix those threats first.
Yeah, that's true. Because like with the bishop on f4, you already have to stop knight b5, right? So it's
Yeah, so like you're already a move behind regardless.
yeah. So you have to like waste some time to play a6 or something, and then yeah.
And 1 minute to the start of the round, and the games will just pop up.
Cool.
So you mentioned there was a the board one of the number one seed was like I think 1500. You said like USCF.
Yes, Dab
Yeah.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, is he like the highest rated player in the tournament?
Yeah, 1529 is the highest rated in the tournament. Funny story is that this morning we actually, Judith got a message from National Master Rui Yang Yan asking if she could play. Because,
Oh wow.
because her in a group would have put the average rating under 1400, right? And we sort of made the call that that's probably not in the spirit of kind of the intention, right? I mean, if you have a Scholastic player 1500, 1600, and the team's under 1400, that makes sense. But when you have like
I remember like in the amateur
World
team
Youth
West,
bronze
the rule,
medalist, it's kind of something different.
Yeah, I remember in like the amateur team West, I don't know if it was the rule this year, but usually the rule is that your boards 3 and 4 can't have more than 1,000 rating point gap.
Yeah, it is a rule.
Okay.
At least in the West.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I mean that's one way to kind of control the.
And actually, Grandmaster Zviad Zoria told me that rule existed because of his team in the East one year, because they basically fielded 3 2700 GMs and then like a 500 rated. That
sounds a bit unfair.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I don't know if that's actually a good strategy. I mean, okay, I guess you need like you just consider your board 4 like a throwaway in every match.
Yeah.
And then you need 2.5 from 3 to win like each match.
Yeah, but think about it this way: your board 4 is usually a throwaway when you're like putting like a 1400, right?
Yeah.
But now instead of having instead of like moving, you're allocating 900 extra points to your top 3 boards. So it's 2700s playing like 2400s, which is like the same difference between like a 2400 playing like a 2000.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well, actually, no, I don't think so. So this is something that I realized as you go higher up, the rating differences start to matter a lot less, is what I'd say.
You are more likely to draw, I agree. But the thing is, I feel like you're less likely to win.
Less likely, yeah, probably, yeah.
Like you will pull more draws, but you won't like pull more like big upsets.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, typically like you don't see that much of a gap in strength at that level. Like I would say it's much more likely that, an IM would beat Magnus Carlsen than a 2000 would beat an IM, you know?
I
Or okay,
yeah.
maybe not. Maybe Carlsen is not the greatest. Maybe Carlsen's not the greatest example because
But a
he's
normal GM.
yeah notorious for not losing games. But like yeah, a normal GM, like someone in world top 10, I would say even like yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's no specific name that comes to mind, but yeah, like I think
Maybe
uh
not a top 10 GM, like maybe like somebody with less prep, but I feel like with the top 10 GM, like the amount of prep that they have to beat them is like insanely hard.
And
yeah, I mean yeah. In any case, I think like definitely like an IM playing like
Yeah,
a strong GM definitely has a better chance of winning than like an IM or like a 2000 playing or like an 1800 playing an IM.
here we are with the second round, and this is board one for the Dublin High School Gales, with Dab Pacman playing
Oh
white.
man. The one rule is you never move your F pawn this early in the opening.
and the G pawn to go with it.
Yeah, now Queen F5. I mean, I think white is already very close to winning here. Um, I mean, instead of F6, if castles, I mean, it's still bad because Knight F5 is coming, but I mean, at least maybe you can play a game there. This looks really tough.
And we're having a request from Chess Master, stream my game. So we sort of have a mechanics rule. I may not follow it hardcore this round, but if you ask that your game is streamed in the chat, you're likely not going to have that happen, because then that tells me you're actively looking at the stream, and we obviously don't want to cover it because then we can't talk about it. So
Oh, are the players actually allowed to look at the stream while they're playing?
they're not, because they're on camera, but
So then how
you
how
you
is this happening?
you just never know, because
Wow.
yeah, you never
I mean, they
know.
might have the stream on in the background or something like that.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
maybe it's like yeah, they I don't know if you can like schedule messages to send at some
it's
specific time, but yeah,
it's something we're gonna have to address and see what's
I
going on
see.
there. At the Scholastic level, we don't think there's anything intentionally nefarious happening,
Right, right.
but you never know. So to protect against that, we're not gonna stream that game. All right, let's look at board two of this top table. Bishop playing Cassius. This is
Oh
B-
my God, was this the
Bishal
Teemu?
Bishal Das against Cassius Lai.
No, because Teemu, actually, maybe it could be.
Right? Because the king went white castle queen side. Looks like I mean I don't know if black can still castle. That's something we don't know, but it
The
definitely
thing
looks like
is,
there was some king takes d8 and then king back to e8.
no, F6 has been played, so it's not the Teemu.
Well, it could be, right? I mean, still like so e4 d6, d4 knight f6, knight c3, e5, takes, queen d8, king d8.
You tell me he went back knight G8 and knight E7.
Oh, right, okay. So that's pretty unlikely. But then how did the queens get traded? That's interesting.
Maybe he went E4, D6, D4, E5, takes,
e5.
queen takes.
That's possible. That's actually very possible. And then like knight f3, knight f3,
Knight F3, knight
f6,
F6. Yeah.
and then they just like developed all their pieces. Actually, can we see the beginning of this game? I'm very curious what
Yeah.
the moves were.
So
This is my favorite kind of position. Okay.
For
Completely
c6.
not what we expected.
Oh my God.
this
Oh, knight takes d1. Wow, this is insane. Yeah.
we didn't quite get here the way you were thinking, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that means black still can castle in this position and probably will castle queenside would be my guess.
See, I don't know if you want it castle queenside in this position.
Maybe just play king f7 and bring the two rooks to the center.
Yeah, I think the king is better on f7.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe actually. F7 is a very nice square.
Because of the way the king side is closed, right? The king is better on f7 than g8, right? And I think the king is better on the king side because like you might want to move your pawns on the queen side.
Yeah. Yeah, this game is still very
it's very open.
There's still a lot can happen in this game.
Yeah,
It's probably too early to tell.
I'm gonna move over to this game for no other reason is that I love the screen name. This is Aqua Jolly Popsicle, and that is Avani Shinoy playing black against Anura Agaravan,
Okay.
and that is
Looks winning for
and that is
White.
Anurag.
White has a queen for 2 pieces.
Anurag Aravind
Yeah.
playing white.
Actually, queen for 2 pieces is not the easiest thing to convert.
Yeah, that's true. But I think in this position, yeah, I mean c5. Like once you start opening the position, it gets a lot
Once
easier.
you start opening the position, it becomes like significantly easier.
I remember there's one really famous game. I think it's Babotsav against Tal, where basically Mikhail Tal sacked his queen for 2 pieces, like basically right out of the opening. It was some King's Indian line. I forget. Maybe I think something in the same-ish. And he sacks his queen for 2 pieces right out of the opening. And I don't think it was entirely sound, but like he just got so much counterplay having the 2 pieces, especially since one of those pieces was that kind of dragon bishop on g7. And then he managed to mount a queenside attack. So white had castled queenside. And he managed to mount a queenside attack, and it just proved too strong. And like basically white had to find like some really like accurate defensive resources, but it's not so easy, especially when you're playing against Tal. So
yeah.
And then Tal managed to win that game. So that was pretty crazy. I mean, that was like probably one of the few instances where I saw like 2 pieces kind of dominating a queen.
I think there's another like Rajapal versus Avanchik game where he played like on move 8 he played like queen takes e6 for 2 pawns, and then he got pieces after that, and then he won the game.
That's amazing.
And
yeah.
Here we are in this game between Sam the Great and I have no idea what that screen name is right up there.
Yeah. Crash.
Okay, let's see. So white is down a pawn here, but with c4, or I mean, he also has black's dark squares on the king side are very weak. So
I would not want to be black in this position.
yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at some bishop f6. Oh, maybe you don't want to play bishop f6. Maybe even c4 here. Just try to break,
C4
and
looks
then
good. C4 looks very strong here.
yeah, and then the idea there is you might want to sack your rook for the knight on d7,
knight, and then
play queen f6, bishop h6, and go for checkmate. Yeah, that's c4 looks very annoying for black here. Yeah.
And this is
yeah.
board 3 on the top table. Board 3.
I don't think it's ever worth to give up your dark squared bishop when you're free antitode for just like a pawn.
It definitely depends on the situation. I noticed recently that like especially at the top level, these guys like Caruana and I think specifically Caruana is now becoming known for playing these kind of King's Indian lines where he plays bishop takes c3 early on, and he doesn't even get a pawn for it. The idea there is you basically just mess up white's pawn structure because he has to play b takes c3, and then you go after like you close the center and the king side, so that you don't end up with a position like this where the dark squares are really like going to be your undoing.
Yeah,
but then
for sure.
And then you just kind of play against these like c3, c4, and e4 pawns, with basically your 2 knights, and it's very interesting. So I know like kind of a while ago, maybe I don't know, even like 20 to 30 years ago, people would be like, oh, bishop takes c3 is just like an automatic no, like you never do that.
Yeah,
but these days, like with engines, they're able to prep these things at home and play these crazy lines.
And
and
white
dragon, and I remember my coach telling me that if you're playing bishop takes c3, you're not in for a good time.
Yeah,
And
This
white's
guy's
played
made in like
c4
three
here.
moves.
White played
Yeah.
c4, but black offered a draw. No,
I
white
mean,
offered a draw. No, black offered
Oh.
a draw, and then white declined it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like white's position here. I'm just wondering if f6 is a possibility for black here.
Bishop h6.
And then I'm looking at even just giving the pawn back. Just play rook f7 after cd5, just e5.
Yeah, but white can never be worse there.
White can't be worse, but I mean, at least black is not getting checkmated, right? So
And
Yeah,
Sebi Suarez is in the chat saying, why not h4, h5, g4, and just start launching that way?
So typically you don't want to do that when you have this kind of position. The idea is that you play on the dark squares here. So you want to basically put a queen on f6 and a bishop on h6, or the other way around. And then it'll be impossible for black to stop queen c7 checkmate. That's kind of a common theme in these positions where, black has played g6 but doesn't have a dark square bishop. And so, okay, we see that f5 has been played. But
This
yeah,
is
coming
not
back to
that
this,
bad.
coming back to this g4 h4 idea. When you do something like that, especially if you capture on g6 after playing h5, black will be able to get in f takes g6, and then they can use the 7th rank to defend those dark squares. So you definitely want to be careful about doing that. Okay, f5 is pretty nice here. Yeah, cd5. Oh, now if e5, I actually think black is probably doing okay there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that'll be tough for these players to think positionally like that, and especially in this game, because this is the board 3 on the top table. Sam DeGreat, that's Samyak Jain, who's 1358 rated white against 672 rated Akhil Venkatesh, who's black.
And I see e takes d5 was played. I mean, rook f7, it's still playable maybe, but this looks very scary. Typically, when you have a bishop versus knight, the bishop will prefer open positions and the knights will prefer closed positions. And I think that's very much the case here. Like now, with the queen and the rook so active on d5 and d4, and the bishop ready to go to e7 or h6 if black tries to defend with rook f8 or something.
Hey guys, I'm gonna switch to this game, and I'm curious your opinion on it. This is left-handed 32 is white against Anshul plays chess. It looks like black is up the exchange, but black's king's sort of exposed here. What do you think?
I mean, I think if okay, rook a6. I think if black can somehow consolidate here,
He should be better, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think the biggest problem is going to be that pawn on a3. It's not going to be holdable.
Yeah, he
In
has
the
to
long
somehow,
run.
white has to somehow like thread in d6 and like play on d6.
Yeah. Or
But
even
I don't think
no,
he
I
can do
think
anything after knight b7.
yeah, no, I think white's plan here might be to even play like knight f6 and knight d5. Try to just
Yeah.
kind of keep the position as closed as possible. Typically, when you're up the exchange, you want to open those files, especially like those A and B files. That'll in this position. That'll be really nice for black if you can
This
get
is
in.
actually kind of scary. That king is in such a bad spot after knight d5.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for black to untangle himself, but I think, yeah, if you can get in some kind of rook takes a3 and then b5 or sorry b4 b3, and then open up like those files for the rooks, then probably it should be winning for black. But I don't know if it's going to be so easy to get those moves in.
I don't know if it happens in time.
I
After
mean,
knight d5 and like maybe like white's already threatening rook e7 with like rook c7 ideas, right?
yeah. Well, I think knight c5, but then rook c7, rook c8
Yeah,
is the
and then
idea.
you have rook c6 after if you go rook a8, and you cannot protect d6.
Wow. Yeah, that knight, the knight on d5 and the bishop on f5 would be incredibly strong. Oh, and I see knight h7 was played. Yeah, that's probably not the ideal square for the knight. Rook e8,
Yeah.
so black trying to trade off some rooks here. Definitely, if black can trade the rooks here, he'll have a much easier time defending this. And kind of consolidating to eventually win this game.
So switching over to a player we followed a bit for the first round, Jashith Karthi playing black here. Jasfork against Nutdraj. She's got 2 pawns rolling down.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
2 connected pass pawns with the rook is usually like very, very, very
Yeah.
strong. At least in like
This
rook end games, it's like
yeah,
almost
this
unholdable.
looks unholdable, especially with White's king being so far away. I mean, even if the king were closer, like H and G pawns will always win, but
Yeah,
um, yeah, this is looking like completely winning for White.
And moving on to another game, mechanics regular Aditya Adichie playing black here against Srihan 98316, changing board
is this just a pure piece?
Yeah, it looks like it. It's just black is just off a piece.
Yeah, and the white king isn't that safe either.
Yeah, I mean this looks pretty
The
comfortable
only thing
for
that needs to
Black.
be scared of is potential back rank mates.
Yeah, and like the bishop on e5 is pinned right now, so probably
See, if
careful
white
there.
actually plays d6 here, black can't take it.
At all. Yeah, wow, that's interesting.
And
He did that. Cool.
and check out this game. You remember the top board on the top table? Things look really bleak for black, but this is the position now.
I think it's still pretty bad. Maybe
Let's
not
see,
as bleak, but
7v5. Yeah, I mean it's still looking like. I mean, White is definitely better and the only one who can play for a win here.
And up
s-
a couple of pawns on
like
top
I think
of it.
like at least a bishop in this position is effectively like a tall pawn.
Yeah, that bishop. Well, I mean, if you can bring it around to b6, like bishop d8, bishop b6, then maybe. But even then, it's kind of hitting air. You're not really doing anything there. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think this is still like easily winning for White.
And should we check on? Let's go back to this game between Sam the Great, board 3 on the top table.
White somehow won a pawn here.
Interesting. So king g7. Yeah, the problem is with that pawn on f5 for Black, his king is kind of awkwardly positioned, so now he has to be a little careful.
Yeah, like
But
black has to dedicate both his rooks to defend the king.
yeah, because the queen, rook, and bishop are like monsters in this position. Queen b2, very nice move by White. It's queen b2, threatening all kinds of discoveries.
All kinds of
Yeah.
trickery going on.
Yeah, and so I mean, like the bigger point is that Black doesn't really have a great move here. I mean, king g8 maybe, but then like bishop h6, rook moves somewhere, and then double up on the d file.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, whoa. Let me flip to this game here. Knight e6 has just been played.
Knight to e6. Oh, blundering mate in 1, rook d7 checkmate.
That's right. So the question
So
is, will, and she found it.
This is
That's
rough.
Isabella Greenblatt. Congratulations. Knight e6 took away the defense of the d7 square and gets the win. Congratulations for that one.
nice. Yeah, that's it. Always a tricky position to play, especially when your king is on, d8 and kind of not so greatly situated, and then this rook, knight, and bishop are
Yeah.
all kind of eyeing your king. It's not easy to play this as Black.
And
So
then
yeah.
back to board 2 on the top table. Bishop plays and Cassius.
Wow. I mean, looks like both sides ruined their pawn structure somehow. Wait, how did this even happen? How did like Black play b takes a5 and White play b takes c3? Something weird
We'll go
happened.
back a few moves here. Here we go.
Yeah. Just want to see how these exchanges happen. Oh, okay. So Black took on c3, then played knight a4, and then traded the knight for the bishop, kind of indirectly.
I think he thought that the bishop was
Yeah.
trapped here, and then missed that his knight was also trapped.
Yeah.
Well, after bishop e5, bishop d7 could have been nice, right?
Rook d7.
Yeah, rook
Oh, I guess the
d7, rook
bishop is still
d7,
trapped. Even
bishop
if you do that, yeah.
a4.
Rook d8.
Yeah, just rook d8, right? And then the bishop is still trapped. So yeah, that would have been the way to go. But yeah. Okay, I mean, this is still playable for both sides. I mean, I think
Yeah,
I
I definitely
probably
still
like,
do prefer black though in that
yeah,
position.
now I definitely prefer black because knight f4 is coming. It's, yeah. That's
And
great.
back to board one.
Yeah, this is just like put the king to f3, where it like
Yeah, and now
effectively covers the
with
entire
black
board.
having played c5, you can even just go after the d6 pawn. Or, bring the knight around, play king f3, rook d3, knight e3, knight d5.
And
Yeah,
Judith in the chat saying all smooth from the TD perspective, all smooth from the commentator perspective as well. Nice, we're getting to see a lot of the different kids' games in. We figure we won't really focus on the team score drama until rounds maybe 4. It'd just be
Yeah.
nice to devote the first 3 rounds to just seeing just as many different kids as we can get their fame on the mechanics broadcast.
Yeah.
While it's here, this is their time right now.
Yeah.
so white
Typically in
is
the first
playing
few rounds,
super accurate here.
yeah, white's
It's
playing well. Yeah. Because now rook b7 is
that
coming.
that
It's,
b4 move was
Oof.
extremely precise. It came
yeah.
in at the right time that it should have come in, and it has a lot of power.
And
But yeah,
guys, here
Yeah.
you were talking about Kesav in this other game we're coming back to about that diagonal, the discovery, and White has taken advantage of it.
Ah, okay. So it looks like black is getting checkmated. Okay. Wow.
Hey,
yeah,
check this, and and just for sportsmen, if you're a Scholastic player watching this,
thanks,
uh,
Judith.
draw's been offered. Obviously, don't do that if you're about to get mated. There's no sense in offering a draw.
Yeah. It's
They're not
kind of
gonna.
unprofessional. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna take it, and nobody likes it. So just
It's
please
just
don't do
rude.
that. Don't do
Yeah.
that. Look at this one game. This is the position here. Eric 100 and smash plays.
Oh, nice. Okay. So white is winning this game.
So
Unless, something,
some
some accident happened.
tomfoolery
Other than
goes
that.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, monkey business like knight d5, king a7, queens.
No,
So
I was gonna say instead of knight takes f4, can you even go like king c6 and just go for checkmate? f3, knight d4, f2, knight b5, f1, queen, knight d6 is checkmate. So yeah.
always looking for the pretty, the dramatic
Yeah,
touch.
Pretty finishes.
it's not just pretty, right? It's also the fastest way to checkmate. So like,
It's mathematically the best way to do
yes.
it.
Yeah,
In addition to also looking pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And following this position again, round 2. A lot of the games are have ended. There's only like a handful of games left.
these games do look closer, so
Yeah, and it's just gonna
Yeah.
get tighter and tighter.
I'm just curious, how are the teams distributed? Are there actually teams min-maxing rating?
We've only had a few teams where it was like 1399 or 1387. I think by far most of the teams were just looking to play as a team rather than being
Yeah.
strategic in terms of okay, who do we get? Um,
Mhm.
you know, uh, and like
I figured that would be the case, but I was curious if there's like even one team that was actually like going for like the highest rating out there.
Yes, and I think it's this team that we're looking at, represented by White. And the reason is because they're a high school team, so they're strategizing and who's going to play where and being under the mark. Because I think let me look at their team average rating. Theirs was 1281 average. That is by far the highest in the tournament. As a matter of fact, they're the only team average that's even over 1,000.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think there's one team on like 1 or something like that, or like half. That's
Oh
thousand
yeah.
average.
There's two. There's two teams. One is 1069 average, and then the highest, the Dublin High School Gales, is 1281. Most of the
Yeah.
teams are in like the 700, 800 range.
Isn't the max like average rating here like 1400?
1400.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So we didn't have teams really try to, let's put a 1300. There was one team from a group of mechanics players that might have been able to do it. They just chose not to do it. They played the Amateur West, the under 1800 section. And they just weren't available to come and do it for this one. But this is board 2. Moving on to board 2. And it seems like in this top table, the Gales have won boards 3 and 4, so they stay perfect. They've won every board in every round so far. And the Gales are black in this game. Cassius Lai against Bishal Das.
Not so easy for black to untangle here.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
you can play knight h4. I don't know, like what's the
That's the only way to untangle. I mean, the thing is, the white's bishop is a bad bishop, right?
Yeah, that's also well, yeah.
I mean, it's
I
not
mean,
that bad.
if you're not losing the g7 pawn immediately, then yeah. But yeah, and I don't think you are, right? Because like take knight h4, bishop g4, king b8.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
That might be okay, right? Because knight e2 comes with check. So
No, bishop e6.
oh, bishop a6, completely missed that. Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if white finds that, he's gonna win a piece here.
And let's see if the board 3 player for this team for the Dublin High School was in the chat saying they weren't looking to maximize ratings. They're just friends got together. So
I remember the first time I played the Amateur Team West, I think it was 2012. That's when like that year I played with Cameron, Big Nation Allen, who are all good friends of mine. And like we were all under 2200 at that point. That was like probably the only time we played this just kind of as friends, like
yeah.
Not with the intent of stacking or
Now you're all
like
2400 over 2400.
yeah. So in fact, after that year, I think we wanted to play again in 2013, but we had all become masters by then, so we were too high rated.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, technically freshman year, we weren't really trying to stack. We just accidentally stacked.
No, I mean, I think we stacked like pretty strategically. I mean, we were like pretty high rated, right?
Yeah, but we didn't really have anybody else to fill in.
That's fair.
and
That's fair.
Bishop
Yeah.
A6 has been played and seen.
Very nice. Okay, so we expect white to
It's
pick
funny
up
how
a
we went
piece
from
and
one Cal team in our freshman year to like 5
oh, we
Cal
had two.
teams
We
now.
had two teams. Wait, we had two teams, right? We played against the B team in round 5.
No, oh yeah, we did.
That was the
a
team with Daniel Lin.
Oh yeah. Wait, who else was there?
I think Curie, Ben Keltner, and I'm forgetting who the fourth player was.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
Oh no! How did White lose a rook?
Yeah, something happened. And actually,
I think he got forked.
the Dublin High School team's in danger of drawing the round because
Where did that rook go?
okay.
Yeah, actually, what happened to White's rook?
Oh no,
Oh,
he played rook f8.
Look at that right
Oh
there.
yikes! Yeah, and
And-
this is why you never resign in Scholastic chess.
And there was no reason for this because there was no time trouble issue. Just
It just happens sometimes. Yeah,
yeah.
rook f8. Ouch.
So wow.
Sometimes you overlook bishops move backwards.
But
Mhm.
look at this. So like now White's pushing that pawn over there.
Oh, I'm actually really scared that black's gonna blunder and play like rook b8 after h7.
And then knight g8 will win the game. Yeah. So I think probably Black has to give
Just
back
play-
the rook.
And it's played.
Okay, now
Oh,
we can
rook
go
b8 here is
h8.
fine because rook h8
Oh
is
no,
coming.
knight
but-
d7.
And it's
Oh,
played.
knight d7
It's
wins
played.
the rook. Yeah.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just like
It's,
that.
Yeah.
Man.
I remember this reminds me, I was watching Nathan's game against Junior. So that was the board four match in Berkeley Team A against Berkeley Team B. Um, and I was watching that game and I made the mistake of turning on the engine eval and like, oh my God, like it's so much
The
anxiety
colors.
just like watching it go up and like change after like every single move. Yeah, that was crazy.
And this is the sport element of chess, is that you never know what's gonna happen. In Dublin, high school was facing a drawn match if they would have lost that other game, and then being down in this game, and just like
Yeah,
that, things happen.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
amazing. These
anything could
things
happen.
seem to be happening even in like the regular tournament, the adult tournament too,
Sure.
right? I mean, if you looked at like yeah, I mean basically Berkeley B versus Berkeley A, that match really could have gotten any of the three results,
Oh yeah.
even like down to the
Be
last
point five
like
to
four
point
or five
five.
minutes. Yeah.
Like, wait, even you guys could have technically in like some scenario, you guys could have won like 4-0.
No, I don't think I ever had. I mean, I did actually have winning chances in my game against Ryan, but I mean, I was never even considering the engine line that gives me the advantage.
Oh yeah, that's
So,
fair.
um,
But like,
so yeah, I mean, like that was like my only opportunity in the entire game. So yeah, I
And
mean, yeah,
this is the last game of the round right here. Bishop plays, trying to. The team's going to lose the match, but they're trying to mess up the perfect score of the Dublin high school team, who won all 4 games in the first round, have won all 3 games in this round.
yeah,
And every little point counts because it does factor in tie breaks later.
yeah.
it's
And just
actually
in
not
general, it's
so
always a nice attitude to play for every single point,
Yeah.
the
it's not
hardest
so
you can.
easy for White to convert this.
No, I mean, I think just you can even just mount a queenside attack. Just play bishop b5, bring knight d2, knight c4. I mean, this is like,
Yeah, yeah. But I mean that like I'm saying like generally like do you have to come up with plans and like stuff like that?
oh
Also your
yeah, yeah,
pawns are
yeah.
kind
It's
of
not
weak.
like you can just play random moves and win this game. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's not like you can just simply trade pieces and expect to win.
yeah.
Like if you trade off both the bishops, if you trade off both the rook and the knight and somehow close off the king side, it's actually gone, right? Actually,
I'm
no, you
sorry.
can't
If
close
you
the king
if you
side.
trade off the what?
No,
Sorry.
if you trade off both, even if you trade off both the rook and knight and trade the bishops, it's and close off the king side, it's still winning for white because of the c4 square.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is like black's just gonna be annoying right now. He's just gonna attack like every single pawn that you have. Like
I
anytime you try to
remember.
make progress, he's just gonna attack like a pawn.
Yeah. I don't remember too many of my games from when I was lower rated, but I do remember one specifically that I played in Reno I think in the Far West Open. It was like the under 1600. I think this is when I was like 1400 or even lower than that. And in one of my games, I was up a piece, and the pawn structure had been like completely like locked up. It was like I put my pawns on like I think I want to say like I was black and I put them on I think h5 g4 f5 e6 d5 c4 b3 a4,
Like the Great Wall
and
of
then he had
China.
like put all his pawns like in the same way, like on dark squares, blocking my pawns. Um, and so that was like really interesting to see, like, I was up a piece, but like how do you break through? I think eventually I managed to like
Did you sack?
sack something on
Yeah.
f4
Oh.
and then make it happen. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. When you were talking about like, trading everything and going for some kind of fortress, that's what it reminded me of. That's like one of the few games I remember from like way back in the day.
And
I
some.
remember like
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I remember drawing like a 2600 by like somehow closing the position when he was like +2 at some point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I've had faith that somehow you might be able to like swindle draws by closing position.
Yeah. I don't think I've had probably two like very strange end games with GMs. One of them was I had a rook and a bishop against a queen. I think we had 2 pawns each. This was against Timur Gureyev.
Uh,
Um, and I had a fortress, so basically I had a pawn on e6, and I was just playing rook f5, rook d5, back and forth. Um, and what happened was I had a pawn on b5, and he had a pawn on a2. So he played 49 moves, then played a3, then played 49 more moves and played a4, traded the pawns, and then played 50 more moves. To like before eventually realizing he couldn't make progress, and then it was a draw by the 50 move rule. Um, but that was by far the longest game I ever played. It was 192 moves. So
and
that was
Judith is requesting if you can move
yes,
the mic to the
I will
side.
do that. Yes.
And that's not a surprise with Timur, because I mean he'll sit on a bike for 12 hours and play blindfolded, 30 people. So I mean he'll grind you down as much
Oh
as he
yeah,
can.
definitely. Yeah. I mean, I was like fully expecting that. I was like, okay, I mean, he has every right to do this. I mean, he has the queen, he's playing for the win. Um, I mean, there probably isn't one, but if there is, then he has
Also,
every right to
white
like try and find it.
also white blundered a pawn here.
Just give a pawn.
Knight
Yeah.
f2. Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. Knight f2, rook g3, and the knight is kind of stuck, right? So,
Mm. You have to go like f5 or something like that to save the knight.
yeah, but then you open the position and probably all the pawns just fall at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Also, with the knight coming to c4,
C4.
like that's a very nice plan by white, playing this bishop d5 and then knight
Bishop
d2,
d5,
knight
knight
c4.
d2. It's the only way to make progress, right?
And
So
and
Yeah.
didn't take it.
that's probably the right decision to do because it's the only way you cause more problems.
Oh yeah, definitely. The knight gets to e2.
Because if you go knight c4, you can go like rook d7, and then the bishop. Then you're trading pawns.
It's funny how this one game is standing out, lasting a lot longer than all the rest.
Yeah.
Tight
And both
game.
sides still have
Tight
quite a
game.
bit of time. Wow.
Yeah, 10-second increment means that the game could technically go on forever. It reminds me of 30-second increment, where
Yeah.
the game actually did go on forever.
Yes. Yeah, that Gureyev game I was mentioning was 90 plus 30. So that was like,
There's no way you're making
gosh,
150
you that
moves
was
without
like
90 plus 30.
that's an organizer nightmare. Like
Yeah.
5 hours around there
yeah.
plus.
I mean, it's one of those crazy things. Like, I remember like we were all talking about this in our chess club chat during last week's tournament. Like 60 plus 10 was the time control for that, right? And we were saying, it feels so long because we pretty much only played Blitz because of the pandemic, because we're not active for whatever reason. And so like 60 plus 10 feels so long, but like if you make it over the board chess, 60 plus 10 is considered like almost a rapid time control. So like it's funny how like being
Almost.
online can like change
I
everything.
feel like in over-the-board chess, at least you walk around.
That's true.
From the
That's
player's
true.
perspective, right? You get to
Yeah.
have some release.
Over here, you're like locked into position because you cannot move except the camera, right?
Yeah, I definitely felt like very like stuck in my seat because of the cameras. Yeah.
And what do we
So I mean,
think?
there's no way to work around it because it's like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I managed to like stand up like in place a couple of times, but that was it.
What about wow.
Okay, so black got a couple of pawns. No, just one pawn.
Yeah, held on.
But
Yeah.
yeah, knight back to c4. Yeah, I'm still confident that white can win this game.
Yeah, I'm still confident White can win this game, but I still think that White needs to start playing a bit more accurate.
Does White
Yeah.
need to go to G1 and bring the rook over to B1 eventually, or somehow?
You
somewhere?
want to play H5 here,
Yeah,
actually.
I'm looking at rook g5 followed by h5. That would be my plan as well.
Breaking through that way.
Yeah, so you want to
Because-
break up black's kingside pawns and then just pick them off one by one.
You want to make it into more pawn islands,
Yeah.
and then that makes it easier for you to make threats.
Rook G5. Yeah, can. Oh, because black can't even really play Rook D8 or something because the E5
Yeah,
pawn
because the e5
falls.
pawn is kind of
And just thank you everyone who's watching and following the U.S. Amateur Team West Scholastic event. This is round 2. This is the final game of round 2. Round 3 scheduled for 12:30 p.m. 12:30. And there it is. It looks like H5 played.
Yeah, so now we expect this game to be over pretty soon.
yeah. Rook takes h5, everything is falling. Or rook takes f5 is better.
Yeah, both are fine. Yeah.
Actually, that rook there on d5 doesn't look like there's a lot of
No, there's
good
no room for it to
options.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah, this setup with the doubled C pawns and the knight on C4 makes it just impossible for for that rook to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things like this
Oh wow.
specifically this pawn and knight setup. It also happens a lot in the French defense, like especially in those classical variations. Sometimes you'll get a position where like you'll have a knight on D4, they'll have a knight on C5, you play bishop D3, and then when they take on D3, you play C takes, and then it's really nice because your knight just sits on D4, they can never touch it because they can't put it like the dark square bishops will have already been traded by this point. And then they can never like put a piece on C4 to attack your knight because of the D3 pawn. And so that knight just becomes a monster. And that like this is a very similar situation. That knight can never be like moved from C4.
And now
Yeah, Black just loses everything.
everything unraveling right here. Rook e6, we're expecting.
Rook e6 will just win all the pawns. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there it is. So the top seed from Dublin High School still wins the match, but it looks like they're going to lose this board.
Yeah.
And a little bit of an upset for Bichel Das, who's 797 rated against 1363 Cassius.
Oh, that's nice to know.
And that's the other thing about these team events, as both of you know, you never know who you're going to get. Right? For you guys, I mean, you could be playing a GM in one round and playing a 1200 in another round. You just...
Yeah. And the funny thing is that it can happen the other way around too, right?
Right.
You play a 1200. I remember like I think I had some upset losses in my like early amateur Team West years. I think the first year I played it, I lost to a 1700 in round 1. And then right after that, like I played it like because we still won the match 3-1. And then after that, I played against like a 2100. And typically, like you know, in Swiss tournaments, if you lose a game, you play someone lower rated than the person you lost to.
Hey,
so
right,
like
exactly.
it's kind of weird to like lose to a 1700 and then play a 2100 right after that.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Is that a...
Rook e6, king d5, just trade. Just play rook d6.
Yeah, just play rook d6 and that's winning.
Yeah.
I mean, Black still has to go for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to go for it, I think. And who knows if White doesn't play rook d6, I think Black has excellent drawing chances. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really funny.
Yeah. Done.
All right, rook d6, good.
But still got to make sure that it's...
Yeah, can Black set up some kind of blockade with c4 and king c5?
See, if White like played like c4 and tried to move his king to to the queen side. That would have actually, I think.
Yeah, that would have been enough. Just play c4 into a5 and then bring the king to a4. Eventually you'll be in swung. Or you just keep the pawn on c2 and then once black's king comes to a6, you play c3 and then it's game over.
You have to be careful. If you go like c4 and then black gets his king on a5, that could be problematic.
No, I'm saying black or white should have gone like c4, king c7, a5.
King b7.
Oh, you're not in time. Okay, so you have to be a
No.
little careful still. So c4, king c7. Yeah, anyway, there's no reason to play c4. It's just like
Yeah, c4 is the only move that can like actually cause you problems in Dublin.
yeah.
And giving wrong chances, but yeah.
Yeah, but even that, like I'm sure, like if white just goes around from the other side, like goes to d5, it should still be winning.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
c4, king c7, king d2, king b6, king e3, king a5,
king
king
e4,
e4, king. Even if king b4 is just king d5. So yeah, it's
yeah, king a4 and king d5, king b4, c3.
Yeah. Man, that actually happened to me once. I remember it was pretty much this exact position. Just imagine like white has pawns on, what was it? Yeah, white has a pawn on c4 and a king on e5. I had a king on a6 and a pawn on c5. And keep in mind, this is when I was like 2200, and I played. Or what was it? Yeah, I played king a5, and after king d6, I played king b4 and lost the game.
No.
Yeah, king b4, king d5, and I basically just resigned. Like that was really bad. That was probably like one of the worst blunders I've ever made. But yeah, it can happen. It can happen. Typically in these positions, yeah, you want to bring your king. Like in a position like that, you want to just bring your king behind the pawn, and then maintain the opposition. It's an easy draw. So. Yeah, but I mean, this one is, yeah, now white is just gonna, yeah, push the A pawn, give that up, and then go for the C pawn. Yeah.
And then because you have two pawns, you can like do whatever you want to and end the game.
You can gain whatever tempo you need or the extra
Yeah.
move.
Yeah, actually, without the C2 pawn, this is a draw, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because king B6, you keep the opposition. So it's, oh, that's funny. So you do actually need both C pawns to win this game.
But like a lot of players at this level still kind of getting their sea legs in terms of how to handle these. But yeah, with that extra pawn, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean the key idea here is that white just has to take the opposition, and so, or I guess
No,
in
you
this
just push
case,
the pawn to c7, put your king on d6, and play c3.
Exactly. In this case, you actually can't take the opposition, so you need to do exactly that. Push the pawn to c7, and then instead of playing king c6, which would be stalemate, you just play c3, and after king d7, king b7. It's completely winning.
So white eventually can just keep pushing this pawn until you get to the
He needs to make, the only way you can draw this position is if you accidentally put your like behind pawn on like c5.
Yeah, that would be tragic.
And then you'll run into issues of like stalemate with c6.
And why c5? Because then you won't have
Because if your second pawn's on c5 and you try to play c6, you stalemate the king on c8. Like when you need the extra tempo and you play c6, the black king cannot move, so it becomes a stalemate. Also, if white doesn't know how to play this position, they can just chuck the first pawn and gain opposition.
Yeah, that's always an idea. Yeah, I think that one, like every player at pretty much every level will know how to convert. Because I think
but it sort of changes when you have to do it in a game.
Oh yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they know that they're the last game and everybody's watching, but
yeah. Yeah, one of the weirder end games that they don't teach you when you're kind of a beginner, but that actually does happen, is knight and bishop versus king.
Oh yeah.
And I remember, um, I had to actually figure that out over the board once. That was not easy.
Where was that?
Uh,
I don't have it memorized either.
mm,
I just know the general concept of how it works, and I'm like, if I get into the over the board situation, I'll think it out.
It's
yeah,
weird.
that's pretty much what I did. Like, I mean, this was like after I'd become an IM, and like I had to figure out knight and bishop over the board. It was not that easy, but also like it's not that easy to hold as black, or having only the king. It's not that easy to hold. So we kind of both played inaccurately, and I managed to checkmate in about 35 moves.
So
Yeah.
so we're getting to that position where we're gonna find out how white approaches this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'll play king b. Yeah, okay. This is. I think I have a feeling white has caught on to the idea here.
Yeah.
C7, and then just don't play king c6, and it's winning.
Yeah. Yeah. So all he has to do is just push the pawn.
Yeah, any move order works here. So
In fact, yeah, you can even just play like king d5 and still win the game. Just play anything except king c6. King c6, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
King d5, yeah.
That was which works,
I mean,
like you
it
said,
is
but
winning,
I'm a
but,
little
like-
surprised to just do c3 and then just drive.
Yeah,
the
I mean, c3 definitely would have been faster. But I think at some point you don't necessarily always look for like the fastest win. Sometimes
for a
like if you know some position,
Oh, wow.
yeah, if you go for a node position, then it's sometimes easier.
What do you think of that? King d7.
it doesn't make much of a difference because white has tempo with the, or you can do that.
Really, c8 queen. That's funny. C3.
This is actually kind of scary.
Yeah, I know. Watching this, I'm like, oh, is he actually going to figure out how to do it? And it's not that easy. Like, oh, okay, black played king d7. I was gonna say if he played king c7 and then c4, king d7, suddenly it's a draw. So that would have been pretty wild. Wait. Hold on. Is this? Oh no. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's not the 8 pawn. Any pawn other than the 8 pawn is.
Yeah, now king b6. Okay, it's over. Yeah.
Is there any
Yeah,
scenario?
c5 wins here. Anything works here.
Yeah.
Actually, no.
this is
The
that-
c5. Yeah, c5.
Yeah, anything works here because this is that typical what's it called? KSKP, right? King square.
Yeah,
king
no, I was
block.
thinking that
yeah,
if you
now
go king
got
e8
it.
and you accidentally play like c7 at that situation, it's over.
Yep. Now you've got the red carpet, c6, c7, c8. So
Yeah.
it's good to go. Yeah, king g8, queen e7. Oh, okay.
I'm glad there's
Yeah.
some hesitancy just to make sure.
Yeah.
He has time, and
Oh my gosh.
taking it is very important.
The funny thing is, the first time I ever got this endgame, it was before I learned how to checkmate with a king and a queen.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up stalemating my opponent. That was pretty funny. Yeah.
And white trying to figure.
Just don't play king f7 or king f8, and it's all good.
You just play queen g5.
Yeah, just queen g5 and then do it. But
I'm not so sure why white is fixated on keeping the queen on.
yeah, usually you want to get this
F6.
4x2 box, right? Like with a queen on e7 or g5, then it's really easy. Then you just bring the king
Yeah,
over and
the g5, queen g5 seems like the easiest because then he'll be able to move the king to f7.
What did you say White's USCF rating was?
White's USCF rating here, bishop plays is 797, and black's
Okay.
1363.
Okay. 797 probably knows how to checkmate with a queen.
Doesn't know how to do it. I think they're getting thrown off by the king being where it's at right now.
Oh no. Queen g6. This is kind of hard to watch now
I mean,
This is like
oh,
because now, yeah, if you move the king, it's stalemate. So
they're sort of the
king f6 is stalemate, so don't play
the
that.
danger also is delivering too many checks where all of a sudden you repeat 3 times without realizing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's like kind of the one rule I learned is when you're playing king and queen versus king, never give any checks. Just keep maintaining this basically a knight's move distance from the king, and then eventually put them into this 4x2 box.
See, there's gonna be this is dangerous because yeah, like you said,
finally.
which should have been done, just play queen
Okay,
f1.
queen g5. I think he has the idea now because now he's just gonna play king f7 and queen g7.
There we go. Wow,
So
that was scary. Great
Yeah, that was
job
scary.
by Bishop Plays. Gets it done for his
wow,
team,
awesome.
Bishop Das against Cassius Lai. And that is round 2 in the books. And guys, thank you so much for coming on and helping out with the broadcast and calling the games. And congratulations, Arjun, from
Thank
the
you, thank
Cal
you.
B team, U.S. Amateur Team West champion. But like I said, I know you guys are all one team, and victory for one's a victory for all. So we couldn't be more prouder of the UC Berkeley team, and we're gonna be pulling for you guys at the semifinal, whenever that is. And for everyone watching, we still got 2 more from the UC Berkeley team coming for rounds 4 and 5. WIM Ashrita Iswaran and Michael Wang, National Master. They'll join the broadcast. Lauren Goodkind will be here for round 3. But guys, Kesav and Arjun, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, happy to
Of
be
course.
here. Yeah,
Yeah, it was good to
exciting
be here.
games.
Okay, everyone, the next round 3 will start at 12:30, but we'll start our broadcast around 12:40, and we should be on with Lauren Goodkind. And Judith and the rest of the tournament director staff enter all the results, update the standings, get the pairings up. For everyone still watching, just follow this link, as you already know, to get all the information you need. Okay, who should we usually like to throw our support somewhere. We will be back in an hour, but who can we raid and who's on anyway, streaming right now? There's probably a lot of
Pretty
people on a
much,
Saturday afternoon.
pretty much everyone, I think. I mean, the big streamers at least, but yeah.
Usually, if Chess Dojo is on, we like to show them a little love because they do that for us. Let's see. Who is it? Naroditsky. Gotham. You know what? There was a Tuesday night marathon one time where Daniel Naroditsky raided us and threw like 3,500 people our way.
Wow.
So we're gonna reciprocate by sending our handful over there for a little bit. But everyone that we send over there, come back again 12:40 for the start of round 3 of the U.S. Amateur Team West Scholastic event. And the games are going to get tighter at the top, and we'll see if Dublin High School can hang on to their lead. All right, bye everyone. See you in an hour.